So today I was presenting at the summer camp of Humane Society. I brought my chahoua geckos and I was showing them off to kids.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, so just a little water in case they get thirsty. All right.
And then we actually just got a bearded dragon 2 days ago out front.
Oh, you got, so maybe I'll get to foster him.
Sweet.
Yeah, yeah.
Talk to them about that out there.
Yeah, I think sometimes they leave it for a little bit just in case it gets adopted.
Yeah.
Yeah. She hates being stuck anyway. She needs to like be out.
Yeah.
She's eager to come to meet you guys. Have you ever met chahoua geckos?
I have a gecko at my house and I just brought it in, but then I just
The leopard gecko? Yeah. So these are chahoua geckos. This is the female, Raven. That was her as a baby. And this is Chuti Pie. He's a male, but he's juvenile male. He's still growing. Yeah. Kask, you don't have to raise your hand.
So, two things, where do they live? Where do they used to live?
New Caledonia. So they're originally from New Caledonia, but at our houses they live in enclosures. I'll show you guys later.
So how old are they?
She is 2 years old and he's about 7 months.
It's fast.
Touch activated. They've been cooped up in these little containers, so they're not very happy. I bought them through breeders. We have expos in Toronto, mainly like in Mississauga in the International Center. They have expos where a lot of breeders come there and you can buy chahuas there. Or once you get to know a lot of the breeders, you can buy through them as well. Like I have a lot of friends who breed geckos now. Whoop.
Oh, that's exactly what my gecko does.
The leopard gecko
Yeah.
launches like this? That's insane. But yeah, and sometimes the Humane Society here gets geckos and then I foster them until they get adopted. So that's another way.
And what does foster mean again?
We keep them and we like trade them until somebody wants them.
Yeah.
So these guys, they have prehensile tail. And what that means is they can actually hold themselves by the tail. They curl it up like that, see? And they can, oh, I think he's hungry or angry. But see, he holds himself by the tail. That's what prehensile tail means. She's much calmer than he is because he's a juvenile, so he's going through puberty right now and he's a little angry.
Yeah. So he's about maybe some of your ages, maybe a little, like a teenager.
Yeah.
Teenager, yes.
So in captivity, they can live for up to 15 to 20 years with good care. There's the captive bred and the wild caught. What that means is wild caught is when people go to New Caledonia and they catch the geckos there and bring them back, which is not really advisable, but it happens. Captive bred is people just breeding them once they have been brought like ages ago, and they keep breeding the same geckos over and over to different kind of genes and genetics and lineages. But that's more advisable because then you're not disrupting the, the nature and fauna and not bringing geckos in. You're looking at that one, eh? She's just gonna sit there forever. All right, so how to keep chahoua geckos as a pet. So you need a vertical enclosure because they're arboreal geckos and they love to climb and jump, as you can see. They need temperatures of about 70 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And normally how you would do that, so in a tall enclosure, you would put a little heat on one corner, so this corner is warm, and then this corner would be cold, and they can move around and self-regulate as to what temperature they need. So if they want to warm up, they would go to this corner and sit under the little lamp, and if they're too hot, they will descend and sit in the corner and cool off. They also need humidity of about 60 to 80%, pretty much constant. That's why I brought the little mister in case they get dry. I can mist them and they lick the droplets off their eyeballs. That's how they stay hydrated. They eat various insects with supplements. So you always want to dust your crickets or put vitamins on mealworms and such. And they can also eat gecko powdered diet, like the same as crested geckos would eat. So you can mix that with water, and it's usually fruit diets. I'll show you guys later. Also, when they're babies, they get very hungry, and sometimes they try to eat your finger or anything that moves because they think it's a worm. Can you see? Yeah, as babies, they're always super hungry, and they just want to eat. Yeah, they're super cute. So if you wanted to keep chahuas, you will need all of these things. I don't know if you can see, but you will need a vertical enclosure, substrate, decor, feeding ledge for food and water dish, heating source, thermostat, misting bottle or misting system, and food. I can go into details, but I don't know how interested you guys are. You can just speed me along and say, we're not interested in this. We just want to play with geckos and ask you questions. Feel free, okay? Yeah, you don't want them to get too hot either, because that could be bad and end up in bad consequences. So the thermostat basically lets you set the temperature that you want and keep it there. So in this top corner where the heat lamp was, you set it to, I set them for 78 degrees, and that's where they can go and bask. But if you don't have the thermostat, the bulb, depending on what wattage you have, it can go much higher and it can heat it up way hotter, especially depending on how your room is, right? So in the summer, you would have air conditioning, so your room is cooler, so the lamp will work more. And in the winter, when the furnace is on and your room is warmer, the lamp will work less because it doesn't need to heat as much. So it's important to have the thermostats. Also, when you get geckos, you should quarantine them for about 2 to 3 weeks. And what that means is you keep them on paper towels in the little enclosures, whether they're glass enclosures or little totes, just so that you can see that they're pooping well and eating well. And if they have any other issues, discharges or anything, paper towel will show it very well. And also for 2 to 3 weeks, you shouldn't handle them. Just leave them be to get used to your environment, to your home. And after that, you can slowly offer them a hand and try to like coax them onto your hand and get them to, learn who you are and that you won't harm them. Once you earn their trust, like they're pretty chill. See, they just, like that girl, she's just gonna hang out and she doesn't care. This guy is a little more inquisitive and curious for now because he's like a teenager, but he will get to be even calmer. But yes, at first they may be afraid of you, but like that, but then they'll get used to you. And chahoua geckos are very friendly and very docile. That's why I brought them first. Okay, after the 2 to 3 weeks, we have 2 options for the enclosures. We have a simple setup like this. Can you see?
You guys, that's better. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So there's 2 options. There's a simple setup where you just put cocoa husk as a substrate or sphagnum moss just to keep humidity higher, like help with it, or a more complex setup, which I'll show you on the second slide. So the simple setup, you would have cocoa husk as a substrate. It's this stuff here. You can mix in sphagnum moss in with it just to keep humidity, and you can add your decor. So I have a cork background over there. I have some branches. I have a coconut hide, a ledge where I will put a dish for water and food. And then there's this little bridge, suspended bridge they can walk on. This is a mossy vine that you can bend whichever way you want, which is really great for arboreal enclosures because you can design whatever you like with it. And then I just added like some wood pieces and fake leaves like that. So this would be a good setup to start with. And then you'll just mist, and this will need to be changed once a month because they will poop in there, obviously. So you want to kind of scoop it all out, throw it out, and add new cocoa husk. So you could do it that way, or you could do it the complicated way to start with. This is complicated to start, but then you don't have to do anything. So this is called a bioactive enclosure. And what that is it mimics their habitat in the nature. So you would have soil, real plants, and little cleanup crew, we call them. So they're springtails and isopods. You guys know what isopods are? The little bugs, roly-polies. So they will walk around everywhere and they will eat the poop and eat the decaying plant matter and everything. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you need like could those also work in sand?
No, not as much in sand. No, they need moisture to survive. Like, you find them outside in the soil by the plants. They need that little bit of moisture because otherwise they dry out. They're crustaceans. They're like shrimp. So they need a little bit of moisture. And yeah, if you wanted to build a bioactive, you would need a drainage layer, a landscape fabric in between the drainage layer and the soil, and then mix in some cocoa husk and sphagnum moss in with the soil. And then you would plant your plants. I love pothos because they do well with reptiles. They can jump on them and the pothos don't get damaged. And what else? Yeah, just leaf litter on top, some hides and vertical jumping spaces, and off you go. And this will be good for a while. Like, you don't really need to do much. You just mist and spray and water your plants. Here I have, once these geckos grow, you can move them up to bigger enclosures. So this is where Raven is at the moment. That is her enclosure over there. Lots of plants. It's a big one. It's 24 by 18 by 36. So it's like this tall. So that's where she lives. This guy is going to move into this enclosure. It's slightly smaller It's 18 by 18 by 24, but it's also real plants. And the reason why I like bioactive with real plants, it keeps humidity much better for them, especially in the winter. When we have our furnaces on, our humidity in the house is around 30%. It's really hard to keep the humidity in the enclosures up. So sometimes what I do is I cover the mesh tops with a foil, just so that the humidity doesn't escape. Heating sources. So these are the thermostats we talked about. There's many different brands, many varieties. These are the ones I like most. This one is expensive. This one is cheap. But I have proven that both of them work very well. I've tried so many different ones, and some of them fail, believe it or not. So you don't want that. These ones are good. This one you can find on Amazon. This is like in specialty reptile stores. And then for heat, for these guys, you don't need much because they only need like 70 to 80. That you don't need much. This is a nanodome. It's really small, and it's just a 40 watt ceramic bulb. You can add that. You can buy those on Amazon, or you can have a 5.5-inch dome. Again, not a big one, with a DHP bulb. It's a little more heat, like if your room is colder. And you could hang that on this little stand if you wanted to, or you could remove this mesh and just put it on top of the mesh. But make sure you have the probe from the thermostat right under the bulb so that these guys don't burn their toesies and noses. You could also have a heat mat. It's not super ideal. You could have it on the side if you wanted to, but they prefer the bulbs, like to get heat from the top. It mimics the sun, right? It reminds them like, oh, this is a warm spot. They go and bask there like under the sun. You need misting stuff. So you could have a pump bottle like that, or an automatic bottle like this. This one you just press and it sprays. Some rain for Raven. She's like, ooh, rain. Or you could set up an automatic misting system, which are a little more complicated to set up. Your parents can help you, but then it just works by itself automatically. What else do we have? Food. All right. So these guys eat any of these bugs. Do we know what that is? Yay. Do we know what that is? Nice. Roaches. Yeah. So these are discoid roaches, and that's what some of the geckos eat. Do we know what that is? It's a silkworm. It's a silkworm. So these guys are actually what produces silk. You know the silk fabric that some of us have? These guys produce that. How cool is that? So they weave little, almost like spider webs, but it's called silk webs. And that's what people make silk from. That's fascinating. Do you know what this is? Yay! The thing about hornworm, just so that you guys know, if hornworm is found in the wild, they will eat a lot of the plant matter, and they love tomato leaves. Once they eat tomato leaves, they become toxic to reptiles. So don't just go out there and pick the hornworm because you're like, oh, I'm not going to pay for them in the store. I can find them in the wild. They may be toxic. Yeah, if they have eaten tomato leaves, they will be toxic to these guys. So the ones that you buy in like your PetSmart or any other store, they will not eat tomato leaves, and they're good for these guys. Otherwise, no. For the fruit diet, this is the powdered diet. There's also Ripashi brand, and it's a powder that you mix in with water, 1 part of powder, 2 parts of water, and then these guys eat it, right? And for feeding the insects, you would want either Ripashi Calcium Plus, this is calcium and vitamins, or Arcadia calcium, magnesium, and vitamins, and you would dust the bugs to eat, just like here. So I have mealworms that are dusted in vitamins. So you see the little powder? Are you hungry? Are you hungry? You're always hungry. Who wants to feed him? Come.
Maybe just wanted to
There's a lot of it. Do you mind just using the sanitizer a little bit? And then you can take the bug and give him. You can even hold him on your hand if you want. For the gecko, they just roam on the ground, right? These guys, they climb up top, so they need extra muscle to be able to jump.
It's cool about when they like walk, like their finger pads go up and then they go back down.
Yeah. Yeah. They curl. You know why? It's because they have the little sharp nails. So once the fingers are down, they have the nails down and they hold on to branch or leaves or whatever. Once they curl their toes up, they release the claws, and that way they can jump or walk. And they also change color, which is called fired up and fired down. So he's fired up, so he's darker. She's getting fired down, relaxed and more pale.
Go around to my shoulder.
Who was next? You can hold this one. Do you mind just using a little bit of sanitizer? Just a little bit. Thank you. So she might not eat, but you can hold her. Good baby. Do you see him? He's like hanging off of the brim of your hat.
Well, like, do some geckos actually eat their foreskin? Like the,
These do, yeah. So once they shed, they eat their skin. Some geckos don't, but most do. These guys do. Yeah, this is called prehensile tail. So when they wrap and they can hold you, leopard geckos can't really do that.
Yeah.
That's to hold on, just to make sure she doesn't fall.
See if she doesn't.
Do you want her on your hat? There you go. You feel her? She's so light. She's like 55 grams, so she's coming down to your brim. I'm just here just in case, because sometimes they jump and they don't think about heights. They think there's branches that will catch them everywhere. So I'm just here in case she wants to.
I see spots.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. He peed on you. Hang on. I have paper towels. Yep. She peed on you. There you go. It happens, right? You little baby. Sorry. I'll clean your hat. One sec. Apologies. Apologies.
I didn't do that. Oh, the white
It's just
stuff?
a little pee, yeah.
I'll just leave it on the table over there.
Yeah, dry it off. It's not a big deal. You know what happens when an animal goes on your head.
So we as humans, we run hotter than what they need. We as humans, we run hotter than what they actually need. I think 70 to 80 Fahrenheit is what in Celsius. Or I think a human is what, 101 Celsius? Is that? Sorry, not Celsius, Fahrenheit. Yeah, so we run much hotter. So when we handle them, they overheat. That's why I brought the bottle. They're actually pretty hot right now. See how they're not even moving? They're like, ah, finally, a drink. Some mist. Yeah, so from all the handling and all the body heat, they get pretty hot.
Does anybody have last question? Any questions?
Is there anywhere you could get like a leopard gecko, like from like a breeder or something?
Tons, yeah.
Is there anywhere close to here, like not even like an hour away?
You can get them from PetSmart even. That's where
Yeah,
my,
that's where I got mine.
that's where my leopard gecko comes from. Yeah, but there's tons of breeders that would come to the expo in Mississauga. It's on Airport Road International Center. There's a ton there if you ever want to check it out. The big one is happening in September. It's called the Breeders Expo. They'll have every animal you could think of. Yes. I have 20 geckos. So I have very, very different kinds. Opa! He got intimidated by the girl. And that's what happened. She moved and he goes, oh no. I have leopard geckos, crested geckos, African fat-tailed geckos, which are similar to leopard geckos, but slightly different. A toki gecko, chahoua geckos, a day gecko, Leachianus geckos. Am I missing any? A lot of crested geckos. Yeah.
So can you, is like this saying true? So if their tail gets fatter than their neck, does that mean that they're eating too much?
That's for leopard geckos, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Careful with claws. If they do that, they might rip the claws. No, watch. So you just want to remove their claws from the fabric so that they don't rip out.
Oh, that makes sense. Oh, they feel so funny. I did not expect them to feel like that.
They're called the mossy gecko.
Yeah.
Probably feel mossy.
Yeah, they do. That is cool.
Why are you whispering? Ah, thank you. Oh, you guys are a great bunch. Oh yeah, I forgot the last slide.
That was really interesting.
And so I'll be back in 2 weeks with a different animal. I don't know if it's the same group of kids or different, but
Yeah, it'll be different every week.
okay.